What's happening, guys? This is the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you what's on my mind. Check it out. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about Aquaman. Now, I saw Aquaman this past weekend. We're going into the second weekend since Aquaman has been released. Some of y'all might be wondering, what can I do this weekend? What can I see? Might I suggest Aquaman? And might I suggest you bring a bottle of Aquafina with you? Why? Because there's going to be a lot of thirsty women in that movie theater. And in this way, believe it or not, I think that Marvel could learn a lesson. Now, this is going to sound quite chauvinistic, but rock with me, guys, because I believe this is true. I think that people have got it wrong, you know, when they want to know like how to bring more women into these types of theaters and I mean movies and everything like that. I think Aquaman, based upon what I saw, because I was looking around in that movie theater, and let me tell you something, there was a lot of moisture in that movie theater, man. I'm telling you, I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. When I sat down in my seat, it was just like, ooh, what? Oh, who was here? You know what I mean? There's a lot of heavy panting in that movie. It's like I told you, sometimes my ex-wife and I go and take our son, you know, to go see that movie. So I was taking my son. My ex-wife calls. She wants to go. I'm like, okay, you know, so, you know, it was cool. She's welcome. You know, we're cool. We're friends. She's a subscriber. So anyway, so all three of us went, and she was having a good time over there, man. If we were still married, let me tell you something. By the end of that movie, she was right, man, because number one, she led the clapping at the end, which is quite uncharacteristic for her. It's like the movie is going off. She's like, yay! I'm like, and then after we get out of the movie, she's like all running up and down the stairs like Rocky. You know I'm not lying. She's a subscriber. Tell me if I'm lying. All right, she's running up and down the stairs. She's got all types of energy. Fellas, take your girl to see this movie. Jason Momoa will have her straight, bro. And so based upon that, I'm saying, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm all analytical about it. I'm like, could it be that the SJWs and the NPCs have this wrong? Shocker. Women don't want to see Captain Marvel. And you know the funny thing about it is that my ex-wife also, you know, I bought a poster of the Marvel Universe, you know, for my son, you know, one of the presents I got him for Christmas. So it's like you see all the characters and, you know, she's hanging it up in his room, you know, over at her place. And she just happens to say, you know, I saw the Captain Marvel trailer. She says it just looks so dull. It's like she just looks like so boring. This is a woman's perspective, someone who doesn't get into necessarily, she's not like into geek culture, although she does love the MCU, you know, but so she's not feeling Captain Marvel. But man, was she feeling Aquaman. So it made me think to myself, you know, that little, you know, professor inside of me. I'm like, so what we have here is the female of the species reacts positively to the testosterone stimuli and negatively to the overabundance of estrogen. So what I'm seeing is, to put it simply, Cyndi Lauper had it right like 30 years ago when she said girls just want to have fun, okay? And this movie, Aquaman, is fun. It puts the F-U in fun, Marvel. So I think that and I think that Marvel can learn a lesson, because they're about to get into this her story and all this stuff, and women are supposed to be like, yay! But what I'm seeing is that you can't underestimate the influence and the power of a strong male lead. Jason Momoa is not the best actor in the world, but what he is very charismatic. What he is a very, very powerful presence on screen, you know, and the women are reacting to it, and the men are reacting to it too. Because I give you an example. There's this one scene in the movie, I don't think this is a spoiler, but you got a bunch of thug dudes who walk up to Jason Momoa in a bar. Now, usually we're used to seeing a scene like this go the other way. You know, the guy comes up, hey there. You know, Jason Momoa, he looks over his shoulder, you know, he's like having a beer with his dad and everything. He looks over his shoulder, freeze frame. Now, how do you think this scene is going to go? A bunch of thugs walk up to your male lead, super buff and everything. Hey, you. Where do you think this is going to go? The male lead is looking over his shoulder. Now, if this were back in the day, and say it were a Steven Seagal movie, you know what's about to happen. Steven Seagal is going to break a few bones, right? And he's going to enjoy doing it. Now, that's the difference between Steven Seagal and Jason Momoa, the way they're on screen, you know, their persona. Jason Momoa, what makes him so likable, I believe, to fellas as well as the ladies, is that Jason Momoa clearly would rather have a beer with you than to fuck you up. Steven Seagal just wants to fuck you up because he was a sick dude. He just loved to hear bones popping and cracking and everything like that. Yeah, so Jason Momoa, he turns around, he wants to be tough, but the scene goes the other way, and he ends up kicking back beers, getting shit-faced, you know, they're laughing, they're having a good time, and that's the scene, and it makes him more endearing, you know, to the audience, you know, to the women as well as the fellas, you know. So the movie goes on, and you know, it's like I said, it's cool. It's a pretty standard plot that's going on here. It's the same plot, basically, I believe, as Black Panther. You got two people, you got one throne. You know, one person wants it, one person doesn't want it, but they're kind of destined for it. You know, and Black Panther got it from fucking Lion King. You know what I mean? This is a recyclable plot. It's just a matter of how you present it. Black Panther was Wakanda. This one is Atlantis. They're underwater. You know, and they pull it off very well. The visuals are amazing. Fellas, you got Amber Heard, and let me tell you something, Amber Heard is fucking fire in this movie. Just her look, I'm saying. It's like that woman is doing more with her eyes, bro. It's like, holy cow. I don't know what she looks like without the makeup, but, you know, in that outfit, in that red hair, with that face that she got on, it's just like, ooh, magnifique. So, yeah, so the two of them, you know, I saw somebody talk about, I don't believe that Jason Momoa and Amber Heard had chemistry. Shut up. They don't have to have chemistry. They're hot, and they do what hot people do. Eventually, you know what's going to happen. So watching the movie is just like, you know, you're watching these two people pretty much have a dangerous, sexy play date for 2 hours and a half is what it is. You know, because it's just a romp, man. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Actually, it reminds me of the 80s. That's why it felt so good, because it was just, you knew nothing was going to happen to these people. You know what I mean? It's just like they're running for their lives. You're like, man, these people, they're too sexy to die. You know what I mean? So you know nothing's going to happen to them. But it reminded me of, and somebody said Raiders of the Lost Ark. No. I think a better comparison would be Romancing the Stone. Now, a lot of you weren't even born back when movies like that were out, you know, but there was this one movie out, Romancing the Stone. It had a sequel, I think, called Jewel of the Nile. And it starred Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner and Danny DeVito. You know, when the going gets tough, tough get going. I don't know, whatever it was. Billy Ocean, man. What's up? Billy Ocean still alive? But anyway, so yeah. So that's what it kind of reminded me of. You know, it was like a little romantic romp. And, but, you know, modern. So there was a lot more going on. You know, there was a lot more danger and excitement and adventure. And, you know, the CGI, you know, was just like off the chain. I'm not sure where this falls with the continuity as far as the Justice League is concerned. You know, it kind of like doesn't fit. They kind of mention it, but when you look at other things that were involved in this movie, it kind of like doesn't really click. But that's okay. You know, the movie I don't think is concerned with the continuity of the DCU. Let me see, what else did they have going on? They had Dolph Lundgren in there. And you know, the funny thing is, I didn't even recognize him at first. It's like when I saw his name come up in the credits at the end, I'm like, Dolph Lundgren was in this movie? But then I realized, oh yeah, okay, it was Mira's father. That's right. He did a great job. He was a great presence on the screen. William Dafoe was in it. I always like William Dafoe. You remember him of Belle Biv DeFoe fame. You know, so that was nice. Who you had Jango Fett in there banging Nicole Kidman. You know, that was pretty cool. They were Arthur's parents and everything. And they had a nice little love story. And, you know, you couldn't help but feel it, you know, when they, you know, when things happened for them and everything. So, you know, it was good. I mean, there was a couple of things I think that I can point out. Like, I kind of had a problem with the Black Manta character. I don't understand why exactly he was in the movie. I mean, okay, it was okay that he was in the movie, but I just don't understand the purpose except to set him up maybe for the next one. I guess clearly that's what it was. They gave him this origin story that kind of almost made him feel sympathetic, because I'm like, okay, why would Aquaman have made the decision that he made in the very beginning if he were that cold-hearted? Now, those who saw the movie know what I'm talking about. I don't understand why he let that happen when ultimately he's supposed to care about all life, right? Like, he doesn't want what his brother Patrick Wilson of Conjuring fame is supposed to be doing. You know, Patrick Wilson as Ocean Master, Grill Master, whatever his name was. You know, he doesn't want him to come to the surface world and wipe it all out. But the reason why he wants to do that is because the surface world is fucking up the ocean. You know, so if Aquaman cares about the ocean life, if he's supposed to love the underwater world and stuff like that, he cares about life, right? So why would he be merciful to the people who are doing that, but he wasn't merciful to that person that in that situation in the beginning? You know, it's like that kind of messed with me, because that's kind of like superheroing 101. Inside, in your character, you're supposed to, care about doing the right thing, and what he did wasn't the right thing. He even admitted that it wasn't the right thing. So why did he do it? I don't understand. Like, they gave no reason for that, why he chose what he chose. That was weird. You know, I don't know. But I could go into it more, but I suppose that's spoiler territory, so I'm not. But yeah, so that's kind of the only problem I have with it. You know, also one little small thing, I noticed that at the change of scenes, like, they had this, and it became kind of funny to me, they had this tendency to do a transition in the scenes with an explosion. You know, I don't know if I'm stating that right, but let's say in the beginning, Nicole Kidman is talking to Jango Fett. You know, they're having a nice little discussion, they're having good family time, the baby is there, you know, baby Aquaman and everything, and they're looking at each other lovingly. It gets quiet, then boom! You know what I'm saying? Like, explosion, boom! You know, people come through, shooting and everything, and so now the scene is going. You know, it's like the movie never wants to slow itself down too much without kicking itself in the ass, and that's what it does. A lot of times it kicks itself in the ass with an explosion. Like, later on, it's like Aquaman is looking at Mira. You know, they're like, yeah, is it time? Yeah, it's about that time, woman. And boom, you know, there's an explosion. And no, they're not going to be able to get it on right now. So, you know, and I noticed there was a few scenes like that where I was like sitting in the movie theater like, here it comes, here it comes. Boom, there it is. And we just go forward with the plot. You know, so, you know, that was kind of, you know, James Wan, who directed it. You know, I kind of saw where he was going with that. You know, but that's like a small thing. Like I said, you know, the movie was over 2 hours, man. It was like 2 hours and 20 something minutes and everything. And there's probably a couple of scenes that could have been removed, like the one I was talking about with in the bar. But you know, it's okay. You know, it was okay, because like I said, it also helped to show his you know, his character. So I had no problem with that. And you know, that was pretty much it, man. It's like, you know, like I said, you know, the pros far outweighed the cons. Just like I did kind of have a problem with the Black Manta character. He was just a little bit too much for me. You know, it's like, he's Black Manta, I'm gonna call myself Black. And I talked about this before in other videos, how, you know, black heroes, like, there's something like 93 white people in this movie. There's like, I don't know, 2 black people in this movie, and the one guy has to call himself Black Manta, because I must remind you that I'm black, y'all. I'm black, y'all. I'm blackity black, and I'm black, y'all. And when he gets his armor, it's white, but he has to spray paint it black. Why? Because I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blackity black, and I'm black, y'all. And I'm just like, okay, we get it. But other than that, I mean, he was a good character. I like the guy who played him. I suppose in the sequel, you know, he'll be doing his thing a little bit more, because as it was, every scene that he was in, he got his ass kicked. But okay, that's cool, you know what I mean? It's a small thing, but in the end, I will give Aquaman, and I want you guys to keep in mind, my rating system, by the way, I'm whispering almost because it's kind of early in the morning, and I don't want to disturb the neighbors. So anyway, here's my rating system. You guys know that I do a system of flushes, all right? It's a system of 0 being good flushes to 4 flushes. The more flushes there are, it means the more shit that's in this movie that shouldn't be in there, okay, that need to be flushed out. So, 0 being the best, 4 being the worst. I will give Aquaman a 1.5 flush. Okay, there was a little bit of shit involved, and that half flush is a courtesy flush. But, yeah, 1.5. Overall, it was a light, fluffy, enjoyable movie. And I feel like this is something that Marvel could learn from This is what women want. I believe, I don't know, based upon what I saw in that movie theater, there was a lot of happy women by the end of that movie, man. It's like, I think that women love to have a good time. Women love to have fun, man. And this movie was fun. It's like they don't want to get bogged down in all that extra stuff. I am woman. I am going to advance women everywhere and all this stuff. At the end of the day, I think when the working day is done, girls just want to have fun, and Aquaman delivers. Okay, so guys, what did you think if you saw it? If you didn't see it and you do see it, let me know in the comment section what is up, and I will see you guys on the next one. I got to get ready. It's about that time for me to go to work. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.